Today we're taking a closer look at the new Piaget Andy Warhol watches that just debuted at Watches and Wonders Geneva 2025. The complex cushion shape merged with new dials. But before we dive into the watch, it's important to first dive into its rich backstory. The 70s was a pivotal decade for watchmaking, a time when quartz technology began to further rise, and the concept of steel being a material for luxury watchmaking was born. Piaget, however, has never been a brand to dilute what it believes to be glamour. The Piaget Society all about jet-setting luxury and living on the sunny side of life. Piaget has always been a brand with a true artistic sensibility, playing with shape, colors, and materials, notably materials used for dials, a pioneer and expert in stone dials long ahead of the trend we are seeing today. It was only in 1979, by the end of the decade, that Piaget would enter the sporty watch category with its polo, naturally on its own distinct terms, with a then advanced quartz movement and in a gadroon form Yves Piaget has described as a bracelet with a watch rather than a watch on a bracelet. Everyone can argue over which integrated icon stole its look from the other, but the polo from 1979 has no doppelganger. And to put things further in perspective, its descendant, the Polo S, introduced in 2016, was the brand's first ever steel collection. Love it, hate it, envy it, Piaget largely centers around precious materials, artistic crafts, and speaking to luxury lifestyles. This sense of glamour and artistry is undoubtedly what drew artist Andy Warhol to the brand, known to have owned at least 7 Piaget watches, 4 of which proudly reside within Piaget's private collection. In 1973, Warhol acquired a Piaget watch he would never know would eventually be named after him, then known as the reference 15102 and first introduced in 1972 with the famed Beta 21 movement. The design would later be named the Black Tie upon its return 37 years later in 2014. But as we all know, watches often earn nicknames from collectors, and as its most well-known wearer, all who knew the design would simply refer to it as the Warhol. And as of November of last year, through a partnership with the Andy Warhol Foundation for the Visual Arts, the collection and design's nickname has now become its official name, the Piaget Andy Warhol Watch. Since its inception, the design of the Warhol has, for the most part, remained unchanged. When it first debuted, the cushion case boldly measured 45mm in width and 38mm in length. The current generation remains 45mm in width, but now has a lug-to-lug, so to speak, of 43mm to give the watch a tad more presence on the wrist to cater to more modern tastes without removing the integrity of its original form. The wide cushion shape is just one visual case signature, the second being the step perimeter around the dial, which is said to have had the intention of creating the illusion of thinness. But with its 40-hour automatic 501P1 manufacture movement that is just 3.63mm thick, the Andy Warhol watch, despite its intricate sculptural form, is around just 8mm thick. So I would say that's quite thin, illusion or no illusion, but looking at the case from the side, a seeming staircase climbing up to its sapphire crystal peak, it can look thinner than its stated dimension for sure. Then again, this is a brand that has long indulged in the pursuit of ultra-thin watchmaking before it was on trend, and can make a tourbillon watch that is just 2mm thick. The Andy Warhol watch is a made-to-order collection, which can be configured in 200 different ways through 10 ornamental stone dial options, 5 different colored leather strap options, 2 handset options, baton or dauphine, and 2 case material options, white or rose gold, through the Maison's infinitely personal service. But there are also ready-made, for lack of a better phrase, models, or at least configurations, that Piaget offers. 2 models made their debut at Watches and Wonders, one of which finds itself in a white gold case, paired with a tiger's eye dial, dauphine hands, and a dial-matching brown leather strap. The second, a high jewelry variant, embeds a triple row of blue baguette-cut sapphire gadroons within the steps of the case that perfectly match the dazzling blue-green opal stone dial and blue leather strap. To find such a quantity of blue sapphires in a uniform hue was a challenge in of itself, and the same can be said for the opal dial in regard to finding a stone in a large enough size to fill the case. Now, I have no illusions of grandeur here. I'm not going to pretend that the Piaget Andy Warhol watch is to everyone's taste, and certainly not everyone's budget. The price upon request description these two new models bear will certainly unsettle the average collector, and the least expensive model listed in the Andy Warhol watch collection, an 18-karat rose gold model with a black dial, will set you back $43,400 US. This is a very exclusive collection from a very exclusive brand, one that is not produced in high quantities. It is perhaps the price of perfection, with perfectly curated and cut stone dials and a complex K-shape that is exquisitely finished and in some instances gem set. Those who purchase this watch are certainly those less fussed about chronometry and complication and instead place greater emphasis on the external. For those who appreciate artistry and the complexity of working with more captivating shapes and stone materials. Glamour, aesthetic, and atypical form coming together to create distinct luxury or bespoke luxury should you take advantage of the infinitely personal service. Say what you will, but it is undeniable that shaped watches and stone dials are very trendy right now, and the Andy Warhol watch sits at the peak of luxury within this trending segment. The Andy Warhol watch collection presented at Watches and Wonders is available now for inquiries, with the pricing set at price upon request. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe to the Time+Tide channel for all the latest watch news, reviews, and content. And as always, I'll see you on the next one.